What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel. Now before we get started with today's video, the road to 200 subs has now come to a close and we are now on the road to 500 subs. Excuse me, who knows, maybe we might hit 500 subs by the end of the summer, only time will tell. But as I have said in previous videos, if this channel does get to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box in its entirety on the channel that I got from my partners at Collector Store. So be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below. Excuse me. By checking them out, not only does it support them, it also supports the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. On the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, a Dark Magician, a Red Eyes Black Dragon, a piece of Exodia, Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed. The possibilities are out there. However, if this channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel that I also got from my partners at Collector Store, on the hopes to potentially pull a collector's rare out of the set. Excuse me. Much similar to when I pulled out of my Genesis Impact box I opened up last year, which is obviously this beautiful Beat Cup from the Underworld. This thing looks absolutely beautiful, you guys. So, obviously, this card is definitely worth picking up. Absolutely incredible. I think the price kind of went down a bit because a lot of people don't use Beat Cup all that much, but it's been pretty useful in Master Duels, so who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But with that being said, if you guys want to see those boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue. Maybe you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, deck profiles, card discussions, WWE topic videos, or maybe, just maybe, you guys want some premium live event predictions and results. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, because more than 80% of you guys are watching the content, but you guys aren't even subscribed. Excuse me. Excuse me. And to top it all off, we gotta get more women to watch the content as well. So if you guys are watching the content, you like the content, and you want more of the content, but you guys have not subscribed as of yet, then make sure you guys do indeed subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day. Excuse me. Answering the question of the day, which is this: what archetype would you guys like to see me do a deck profile on in the future? Let me know down in the comments below. And for today's video, I promised you guys a Galaxy Eyes deck profile with the new Tachyon support, and here we are. We have the official Galaxy Eyes deck profile using the new Tachyon support. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm looking at this deck. It has the potential. It has that tier. I wouldn't say tier 0 potential, but it has more of a tier 1 potential to be a meta deck. Like, this is probably one of the craziest things I've ever done. And I can't wait to show off the deck. So let's get down to it. Kicking these off, we have the usual 3 copies of Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. Obviously, this is literally the bread and butter of the whole deck. If you're not playing this card, you are not playing Galaxy Eyes whatsoever. There's really not much to say about it. It's just an all-around good card. Next up, we have we have the typical meta of 2 copies of Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon, which ideally, if you guys do not know, this is basically your Cyber Dragon for the entire deck. So if you have, excuse me, so if you have if you have Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon on board, or if you have a card like say Cypher X Dragon on board, you can literally side draw this card from your hand, and it gives not only does it give you another body on board, but as long as you're able to special summon another level 8 monster, you're pretty much just off to the races from there, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have a single copy of Galactic Spiral Dragon, and what's cool about this is that this is essentially your literally probably one of the best like one-ofs in this entire deck. So if you guys have never seen this card before, its effect reads as follows: while this card is in your hand or grave, if you control 2 or more light and or dark dragon monsters, you can special summon this card in defense, but banish it when it leaves the field. The other effect reads: during your main phase, you can make all monsters you currently control become level 8 until the end of the turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. So again, let's say for example you have Nebula Dragon and I'll say Galaxy Eyes on board. You can literally target those two, special summon Galactic Spiral Dragon, normal summon a card like say Galaxy Wizard, and you can literally you could do one of two things. Either use Spiral Dragon's effect to make Galaxy Wizard level 8, or you can use Galaxy Wizard's own effect to make itself level 8. And then you would basically have 2 Xyz monsters on board, which is pretty cool, which is pretty fucking awesome. And also too, when you detach it from any Xyz monster that's on board, you can literally bypass the banishing effect just by simply detaching it from can't speak. Just by using it as Xyz material for a card like say number 90, number 107, number 62, or whatever, and when you detach, guess what? It gets sent to your graveyard, and you can use the effect over and over and over again, which is absolutely insane. Now we are gonna get into a couple of the new cards for Tachyon, and the first one up is Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Primal, which I am running 2 copies of in this deck. So the effect of Tachyon Primal reads as follows: when a Dragon Xyz monster declares an attack, attach this card on the field to it as material. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If a Dragon Xyz is on the field as a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand to either field. If this card is normal or special summoned, its owner adds 1 Tachyon spell or trap from their deck to their hand. So funny enough, if you're going to go into your let's say your Cypher X plays, the idea would be for you to go go Nebula Dragon to summon both itself and Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, then go into Source Child, then you special summon another new card known as Source Child Infinity Dragon. You take both Photon and Nebula Dragon, overlay them into Cypher Dragon, then you overlay them into Cypher X Dragon, detach both Cypher and Galaxy Eyes to use up Cypher X's effect. Cypher X's effect, and then you can literally go into battle phase, and then you can then special summon Tachyon Primal to your board from your hand. Use its effect. Add, let's say, add Tachyon Spiral of Destruction, which is another one of the new cards in this deck. And then you can just go off from there, which is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Or actually, let me rephrase. Instead of declaring the attack, you can then special summon Tachyon Primal, use its effect, get out Spiral of Destruction, overlay both it plus Infinity Dragon, go into number 107, and if you have and if you have if you have what I can't even speak. Barion's Force on board. You can use Barion's Force to go into Neo Tachyon and just combo off from there, which is absolutely insane. And then so Tachyon Primal is pretty good. It's a combo extender, if you will, which is pretty cool. And then speaking of Schwarzschild, I'm actually running 2 copies of Infinity Dragon, which just like the original Schwarzschild, Schwarzschild Limit Dragon, this card also acts as a Cyber Dragon as long as your opponent has a monster with 2,000 or more attack. And the thing is, this has to act as a Cyber Dragon, literally, because the effect reads: if you control no monsters, or your opponent controls a monster with 2,000 or more attack, you can special summon this card from your hands. And if you do, special summon a level 8 light or dark dragon from your deck in defense. So ideally, it would be this plus Galaxy Eyes. You can instantly go into a rank 8. There's no limit to, no pun intended, but there's like no limit to what you can do with this deck, which is pretty crazy. And also, too, its effects are negated, and you're not allowed to special summon from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect, except Dragon Exceeds. There's only 2 Link monsters in the extra deck that I have. So ideally, you're gonna be locked into your Exceeds monsters, which that's fine. That's fine. You really don't use your Link monsters all that much, unless if you're using them for certain effects. But other than that, that's totally okay. And speaking of Nebula Dragon, we have 2 copies of Nebula Dragon, which again, this card is absolutely insane. You get to reveal both this card and any other level 8 monster you have at a disposal. Special summon both of them in defense. Their effects get negated. It's essentially another 1 card Exceed summon, which is absolutely insane. Now we move into our 4-star monsters, and the first one up are 2 copies of Photon Vanisher. Not only is this a Cyber Dragon, but this is also your Rhoda for the whole deck. So basically, what this card does is this. It can't be normal summoner set. It has to be special summoned as long as you have a Photon or a Galaxy monster on board, and it can't and it's not allowed to attack the turn it's summoned this way, and you can only special summon him once per turn. And upon this card being special summoned, you can add Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your deck to your hand, which is pretty cool. It gives you access to go into your Nebula Dragon plays, and then just go into your rank 8 plays from there, which is pretty cool. And it also has the effect where if this card gets used to summon an Exceed monster, that monster gains the effects that you can banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card. So if you were to go, let's say you were to go Nebula Dragon plus Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, and you overlay them into, let's say you wanted to go into Tachyon Dragon. Let's say that you would go Nebula Dragon plus Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, special summon them both in defense mode, in defense position. Special summon Galactic Spiral Dragon if you have it in your hand. Then you go special summon Photon Vanisher. Use its effect to get out to thin out the deck by adding another Photon Dragon to your hand. Spiral Dragon's effect would trigger. You make Photon Vanisher level 8, and then you would go Photon Dragon plus Nebula Dragon, go into your Tachyon Dragon, and then Vanisher plus Spiral Dragon, you go into, let's say, I'll say number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. Basically, with Titanic Galaxy, you're able to banish any card, any monster that gets destroyed by battle with Hope Harbinger, which is absolutely insane. Not much else to say about that, you guys. Not much else to say about that. But next up, we have 2 copies of Photon Orbital. This is kind of a weird card, in my opinion. But the effect reads as follows: during your main phase, you can target 1 Photon or Galaxy monster you control. Equip this monster from your hand or field to that target. It gains 500 attack and it cannot be destroyed by battle. You can send this equipped card to the grave. Add 1 Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand. Except this card. So basically you send this card from your field equipped to a monster to your graveyard, and you can add pretty much any Photon or Galaxy card to your hand. Which, funny enough, you can also add, if my memory was correct from testing from testing this out, you can also add a Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Primal to your hand as well, which is pretty cool. This is basically a way to just extend into more of your plays, or you can also use this card's search effect as a follow-up effect. So if you want to add let's say Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon for the follow-up plays, if you're able to make your board, but you're locked out of summoning any more monsters during that turn, then you can search out for the Afterglow Dragon and use it as your follow-up play next turn, which is pretty cool. Next up, we've got 2 copies of Galaxy Cleric, which this card, I don't have to say much about it, except that this is essentially your Pot of Avarice for the whole deck, which is absolutely insane. This is, again, not only is this your Pot of Avarice for the whole deck upon the card being normal summoned, but you could either use it for the Pot of Avarice effect, or you can also use this card to attach itself to any Photon or Galaxy Exceeds monster you have on board, which is pretty cool. Ideally, you want to mainly use it for the Pot of Avarice effect, especially if you don't have any way to get out, go into any more of your plays. Then using Cleric for its pot of Avarice effect is pretty cool. Next, which is going to be probably the main thing you're going to want to go into. But if you want to try and maximize the effect of like I'll say I'll say Chaos 107, then you can go for it. But again, most part, pot of avarice. Next up, we have 2 copies of Galaxy Summoner. So, funny thing is that this card is essentially your Monster Reborn for the entire deck. So the effect reads: if this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 photon on a Galaxy monster in your grave, except this card, special summon it in defense. The other effect reads: you can target 1 other light monster you control. It becomes level 4 until the end of the turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. So funny enough, if you normal summon this card, and you target Photon Orbital and you special summon it, you can automatically go into a rank 4, which is absolutely hilarious. And again, it's essentially your Monster Reborn for the entire deck, which is pretty cool. Hence the reason why I chose not to run Monster Reborn in this deck. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, but that's just how I see it anyway. That's just how I see it. But next up, we have a single copy of Galaxy Wizard. I'm only running one copy just because of the fact that we already have so many searchers off of cards like Vanisher and Orbital, and even also Galaxy Cleric. Technically, Cleric is a searcher because even though you're adding cards from your grave back to your deck, and you're drawing 2 cards, technically drawing those 2 cards means trying to search out for cards like Vanisher or perhaps Primal or whatever. So ideally, Galaxy Wizard is mainly in here only as a one of. I know that I'm probably gonna get some heat, and people might say, "Oh, it's better as a three of." Yeah, that may be the case, but that's the problem. If you run multiple copies and you open with 2 or 3 copies of Wizard, guess what? Your hands a brick. Plain simple. But next up, we have 2 copies of the brand new Tachyon Cloud Dragon, which this card is a fucking house. So the effect reads: if this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, you can special summon it. You can tribute this card, special summon 1 Tachyon monster from your deck or grave, except this card. If you special summon a Dragon Exceeds monster, you can target 1 of them, attach this card to it as material from the grave. If it was there when the monster was sent, or that was summoned, or hands, even if not. You can only use each effect once per turn. So this is basically Galaxy-ized Cloud Dragon on steroids, which is absolutely crazy. You literally get to attach this card to a card like, say, Cypher X Dragon as the material, which is absolutely insane. The only thing, though, is that I get that a lot of people might think that running Xyz Import might be a brick, and for the most part, yeah, it could be. But the crazy thing about it is that you don't really need Xyz Import all that much. To be honest, you really don't need Xyz Import, because Xyz Import, it's weird in a way, but because of the fact that this deck can make your monsters gain so many materials at a time, I really don't think you need Xyz Import, in my honest opinion. But this card basically just ensures that your Xyz monster gets enough materials for a decent amount of negation, if you will. So if you want to go for negation, hands down Neo Tachyon is the best way to go. Especially if this is the only card you have on board, then you can literally attach Primal, Cloud Dragon, and even also And even also, I think those are the only ones. Yeah, yeah. Just attach them to your monsters as material, which is absolutely insane. And then to round out the monsters, we have two copies of Ash Blossom. Probably one of the best hand traps you could think of. Now we move into the spells. Give me 1 second, guys. I forgot something. There we go. Now we move into the spells, and the first one up are two copies of Photon Sanctuary. This card is absolutely insane. This card right here. You just play it, special summon 2 Photon tokens, and boom, you can instantly go into either Soul Flare Dragon, you have to go into Soul Flare Dragon, which is the only Link monster that you're gonna go into. The only thing though is that I feel like running 2 copies might be a bit of a dud, might be a bit of a break, especially if you're, especially with the fact that I'm only running 1 copy of Soul Flare Dragon. So if Sanctuary becomes a brick, you can just side them out for cards like Ghost Ogre, Ghost Bell, Solemn Warning, or whatever for a little extra negation, which is pretty insane. Then of course we have our one of. So we have the Harpies Feather Duster, obviously for the back row removal. We got Barion's Force to go into the Neo Tachyon plays. We've got Galaxy Trance, which ideally Galaxy Trance is a bit of a weird one, but it's actually really good. So Trance's effect reads pay 2,000, then target 1 Photon monster in your grave, special summon both it and a Galaxy monster from your deck with the same level, both in defense. And if you do, each monster's attack becomes 2,000, and their effects are negated. And you can only activate this card once per turn, and you're not allowed to normal or special summon monsters during the turn you activate this card, except Photon and Galaxy monsters. So funny enough, you're basically locked into summoning anything that's Photon or Galaxy, which ideally it's fine. It's fine. That's why I have this card as a one of. It's because of that reason. It's because you're locked into summoning only Galaxy and Photon. So I think Spiral Dragon. I think Spiral Dragon and Nebula Dragon and Schwarzschild are the only 3 that you're not allowed to use, which is fine. Which is perfectly fine, as long as you're able to go into your rank 8 plays. You're pretty much just okay from there. Next up, we have the one Galaxy Expedition, which, funny enough, this card is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. And the effect reads: if you control a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster, special summon a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck in defense. And you can only activate this card once per turn. This is literally a way to target Primal and special summon Photon Dragon right off the bat to go into more of your rank 8 plays, which is pretty cool. Then of course we've got the one Galaxy Zero, which ideally is your other Monster Reborn, which is pretty cool. And then to round up the spells, we have 2 copies of Tachyon Spiral of Destruction. If you guys have never seen this card before, or if you guys never saw me talk about this card, the effect reads as follows: activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect once per turn. If you control a Galaxy Xyz monster, destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls whose effects are negated. Target 1 Tachyon card in your grave except this card, add it to your hand. Target one dragon number monster in your grave, special summon it in defense. So you literally, so if you have, let's say you summoned out Neo Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon and you used its effect. Detach, all cards on your opponent's board are 100% negated. You can then activate Tachyon Spiral of of destruction and use one of its effects. Ideally, you want to go for the board wipe because by wiping out your opponent's whole board, as long as you're able to read cards. Bad joke, I get it, but if your opponent's cards doesn't have any effects that activate in the graveyard, you essentially have yourself literally a what would happen if you were able to use both effects of Lightning Storm, basically, which is absolutely insane. But then again, you could also add cards from your grave to your hand, or you could use this card as a Monster Reborn. But ideally, you're gonna end up just wiping the board clean using the first effect. But speaking of wiping boards clean, moving into the traps, there are only 6 of them, and the first one up are 2 copies of Tachyon Chaos Hole. This card is essentially it's kind of like your drowning. It's kind of like your It's basically drowning Mirror Force on steroids. So the effect reads when a face-up galaxy exceeds monster control is destroyed by battle with an opponent's attacking monster or by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard. Destroy as many face-up cards your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, banish them. The second effect is where things get really interesting, because it reads, during your draw phase, if this card is in your grave, instead of conducting your normal draw, you can banish this card, then target a Galaxy Exceeds monster in your grave and special summon it. Honestly, you really don't want to do that, especially if you don't have any cards in hand, and if you ended up with nothing on board, you want to try and get out the draw to try and go for some of your plays, which again, the second part is okay, but the first effect is where it truly counts. Now we have 2 of the brand new Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy. I get it is the name of a set. I get it is the name of a booster box set. Yes, I actually did an opening of it a little over a couple of years ago. Be sure to check that one out. That was a pretty weird opening, but this card's effect reads if you control a Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon monster, you can activate this card from your hand. During the battle phase, detach 1 material from your Galaxy Eyes Exceeds monster, shuffle all monsters your opponent controls that were normal or special summon this turn into the deck. If you control a chaos number, this card's activation and effect cannot be negated. You can only activate this card once per turn. So literally, this is literally your back to square one on steroids. And if you have Neo Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon on board, not only could you activate this card from your hand, but the effects cannot be negated. Not even a card like Solemn Warning would be able to stop it, which is absolutely insane. Then of course, and then to round up the main deck, we have 2 copies of Tachyon Transmigration, which ideally again is your Solemn Judgment / back to square one, which is absolutely insane. Not much else to say about that. Now we move into the extra deck, which I'm going to go backwards from Link to Xyz, because of the fact that that Nexus decided to order it from rank 12 to rank 0. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So first up, for our Link monsters, we have a single copy of Galaxy Eye Soul Flare Dragon. So this card upon it being Link summoned, you can target any Photon or Galaxy monster in your grave and add it to your hand, which is pretty cool. But the effect reads during your opponent's main phase. As a quick effect, you can discard one Photon card or a Galaxy card, or you can discard Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, target any monsters, any special summon monster that your opponent controls, and destroy it, which is absolutely insane. Funny enough, I think there was a combo. I think with Dragon Links where it was this card plus, I think, Beauregard Dragon. I believe, yeah, Beauregard Dragon, where Beauregard Dragon's effect reads that it can't be destroyed by card effects, and that once per turn you can send a card from your back row to your grave and special summon from either grave to your field a monster that was destroyed and sent there this turn, but with its effects negated, which is pretty insane. So there was like a little combo with Soul Flare and Beauregard, which is pretty cool. Then of course we've got a new addition to the extra deck, and it's known as Galaxy Satellite Dragon. Funny enough, this card is actually really broken in Duel Links. So the effect of Satellite Dragon reads as follows. During the battle phase, as a quick effect, you can banish the card from your field or grave, target one number exceeds monster you control whose original attribute or type is light and or dragon. Until the end of the battle phase, its attack becomes equal to the value of the number in its name times 100. Also, any battle damage your opponent takes is halved. And during your opponent's end phase, you can choose one card from your deck, place it on the top, or place it on top of your deck, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So funny enough, if you have Chaos number 107, I believe it becomes 100,000. I think it is. Hold on. Oh, or rather, it becomes 10,700, and then you add that to the 4,500 that it had. It gains 50. I believe it gains. Oh, actually, no, it does not. It does not. I believe it just becomes. It just makes it so Neo Tachyon would end up having over 10,000 attack, which is pretty cool. So that's pretty cool. And also you can actually manipulate your deck to where if you want to add a Galaxy Zero to your hand, you can draw it out by using Satellite Dragon, which is absolutely insane. Now for the Xyz monster. So first up we have Galaxy Photon Dragon. This card is actually pretty insane. So the effect reads: other light monsters you control gain 500 attack, and you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can detach one material from this card, either add a Photon or Galaxy card from your deck to your hand, or send it to the grave. If a light monster is special summoned to your field, except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters and it becomes 4 or 8 until the end of the turn. So this card basically ensures that you can go into more of your rank 8 plays right off the bat, which is absolutely insane. And not only that, this is another Rhoda for the whole deck, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have Starliege Photon Blast Dragon. This card is honestly probably one of the best rank 4s that this archetype has ever had. So the effect reads if this card is Exceed Summon, you can special summon one Photon monster from your hand. And while this Exceed Summon monster is on the field, your opponent cannot target monsters controlled with 2,000 or more attack with card effects. And it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And once per opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can detach one material from this card, target one of your Galaxy Edge Photon Dragon that is banished from your grave, special summon it. So ideally enough, this card acts as a protection for the whole deck, and not even cards like Raigeki, Lightning Storm, Dark Hole. None of those cards can affect your board, which is pretty cool. Then we have the new addition to the archetype, and it's known as Dragluxion. This card is crazy. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can add one Galaxy or Tachyon card from your deck to your hand. You can detach two materials from this card, special summon a rank A Dragon Exceeds with 3,000 attack from your extra deck by using this card you control as material. Then you can attach one Galaxy monster from your extra deck to it as additional material. This is treated as an Exceed Summon. You can only use each effect once per turn. This card basically helps you summon out Tachyon right off the bat, which is absolutely insane. And you can also take Tachyon Primal and Cloud Dragon and attach them to Tachyon as the material. And if you have Barion's Force in hand, you activate Barion's Force, go from Tachyon to Neo Tachyon, and if your opponent has an Exceeds monster that has a material, you can attach that material to Neo Tachyon as its own material. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 materials. That's literally 7 materials for Neo Tachyon, which is absolutely insane. And if you also use Exceeds Import, which I'm actually running that card in my side deck, ideally you're gonna have about 8. You're gonna have up to 8 materials for Neo Tachyon, which that gives you literally 8 turns to negate your opponent's whole board, and essentially just win the duel right off the bat, which is absolutely insane. And that is all from just this one Dragluxion, which is pretty crazy. Now for the rest of the extra deck, which they're pretty self-explanatory. We've got number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, which basically which can give itself even more materials, or it also lets you negate cards right off the bat, which is pretty cool. We've got obviously number 107, which is just, it's pretty generic to be running 107 in a deck like this, which is pretty crazy. We've got number 38 for spell and monster negation, which is pretty cool. We've got Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon for the brain con plays, if you will. We've got number 62, as well as Chaos number 62 for to help you win games, which is pretty insane. We've got full armor Photon Dragon to pretty much just pop any face-up card on the board. Then of course we've got a Cypher Blade Dragon to pop pretty much any monster on board, which is absolutely insane. And then last but not least, not only do we have Neo Tachyon for negation, but you also have Cypher X Dragon to basically ensure that your cards do not get destroyed, which is absolutely insane. Moving on into the side deck, the side deck can pretty much just be whatever you want, but my side deck was built solely for just in case if you do run into any like any Xyz heavy base decks, like perhaps like a mirror match, or if you're going up against like chamber, like not chamber, kind of, or perhaps Exodia decks or whatever, or something in that like. So for those types of decks, I've got 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, 2 copies of Ghost Spell, obviously to pair off with the Ash Blossoms, which is pretty crazy. I've got the Tornado Dragon for extra back row removal. The one call by, obviously, because you don't want your plays to be stopped. I have a second Galaxy Expedition just in case if the primals or the Cloud Dragons or something in the like become bricks, and you want to try and maximize going into more of your Xyz plays. I have the second expedition to sight into to go into more of your plays, to go into more of my plays. Then of course I've got the 2 copies of Xyz Import, again mainly in here just in case in Photon Sanctuary becomes a brick, which ideally is going to end up being a brick anyway, so I can side those out for the 2 Xyz Import, and ideally you're going to end up having a shit ton of materials for Neo Tachyon, or perhaps for Cypher Blade Dragon, which is absolutely insane. And then of course for the Xyz decks, I've got 2 copies of Vain Betrayer, which this card is absolutely insane. So this card can be used by targeting one of your opponent's Xyz monsters that launched an attack. Not only can it not attack, but its effects are negated as well. Kind of like a Fiendish Chain, if you will. But the other effect is where it gets really hilarious, because during each of your opponent's end phases, they have to mill 3 from the top of their deck to their graveyard, which is insane. So if your opponent went full combo and you're going first, if you're going first games 2 or 3, and you set one of your Vain Betrayers down, and your opponent comboed off went full combo, and they only have 3 cards in deck, and they summoned an Xyz monster, and they try to launch an attack on you. Guess what? You flip up Vain Betrayer. You target that Xyz monster. Their end phase comes. They mill 3, and you win. All you do is just draw and pass. That's it. Plain simple. Then of course I am also running 2 copies of Solemn Strike, and then 2 copies of Solemn Warning as well. I thought about taking out the strikes and the warning and adding like a third betrayer or like in 3 Fiendish Chain, but I feel like this is the correct set of cards to use, in my honest opinion. But with that being said, guys, honestly, this is a crazy ass deck. Probably one of the best. I would probably say that this is going to be one of the best decks in the whole format. Get ready, guys. You might end up seeing this deck get played upon the set's release, known as Duelists of Brilliance. So get ready for it, guys. But with that being said, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more deck profiles in the foreseeable future, excuse me, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.